This was the hardest one to turn into a process.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you turn a mystical experience into a 1, 2, 3 process? It's like, Jesus. Okay. So this is a process for people who are feeling a sense of ennui, people who are feeling kind of listless, stuck in the doldrums. How many other words can I come up with for being sort of like really no energy? Apathetic, there's a good one. You've kind of lost your mojo. You've lost your drive. And you're trying to find a way to get it back. And that really is where putting yourself into the experience of awe can be very powerful.
So if you're anything like me, you are not into spiritual mumbo-jumbo, which is a problem because we're about to do some spiritual mumbo-jumbo. So if an idea like finding your awe makes you uncomfortable, then just skip it. Like, no one's gonna get grumpy at you for skipping something you find boring.
For some of you, this is gonna sound like a fairly common experience, and all I would say to you is keep doing it. If this is something that is not particularly common to you, here's how you would go about it. First thing you want to do is try and identify what really gives you that sense of wonder, that sense of understanding that you live in a much larger universe. And if you're drawing a blank right now, just think about times in your life, like certain memories you have that are really strong when you were in nature. Certain times in your life when a certain song seemed to transport you. Certain times in your life when you've just felt much more at peace than you're used to. And see if a memory comes to you from that, and then try and see what you were doing then. And so once you've identified this way that you experience being a part of something larger than yourself, make the time to go do it. If you need a limit, that's great, an hour minimum, right? You really want to let the world fall away so that you can kind of experience whatever this is, if it's big, if it's vast, if it's connected. And then once you're done, once you really feel more relaxed, like you've really been in that space, write down why you do the work that you do. This is something that a lot of people, especially in the social good sector, they can tell you, but they can tell you because they've been pitching it. They can tell you because it's a part of their diff. They can tell you because it's something they've been doing and they've been trying to convince other people. But that's a different way of expressing it than how it comes from your heart. That's a different way of expressing it from how it comes from your soul and how this work is feeding that part of you. That's what you're trying to get at for yourself. This isn't something you're going to turn into a sales pitch. This is something that you just have for you. And that memory, that reminder, believe it or not, accesses the default network. It accesses the creative part of your brain. So again, it's another way to pump a new set of neural loops and get into that space. It has an added bonus of creating emotional resilience, which anyone in this line of work desperately needs. Awe, as it's described in the scientific literature, is this experience of being a part of something greater than yourself. And some people, like in one of the studies, it was being put beneath a redwood tree, which are these massive trees we have here in California that can grow to 350 feet. And it can take like 30 seconds to walk around them. I mean, literally, they're kind of astonishing when you're in their presence. But maybe it's staring out at the ocean, or looking up at the night sky on a new moon and seeing all the stars. Or maybe it's the full moon. Maybe it's a mountaintop vista for you. It's swimming with dolphins, seeing a whale, just walking through nature and feeling a part of the entire system. Everybody has their own ways of doing it. Some people, it's the artistic creation. It's literally like as they start to paint and enter that state of flow, or as they start to write and enter that state of flow, or the feel of the clay in their hands. And there's a lot of artists will talk about that the creative element comes through them. It's not a part of them. They are a conduit. And in being a conduit, you're recognizing you're part of something greater. Sometimes it can just be playing with your kids and recognizing that you created this child, and this child is now going to grow up and do things. So it's really finding that space for you and going back into it, because our modern lives are so busy and crazed, we don't really give ourselves time for that. But don't rush. This is really about slowing down. This is about taking your time. Douglas Rushkoff, an author, has this wonderful comment where he says that even with all the computers, we still seem so rushed, and we thought they would have been time saving. And it's because we've actually internalized machine time. And so we now expect ourselves to answer emails 24 hours a day. We expect ourselves to be able to fly across the planet and immediately go to a meeting. And our brains did not evolve to do that. Our brains evolved for slower processing of the complexity. And so awe is about slow. It's about recognizing geologic time, right? Cosmic time, and recognizing what a small piece of time we're actually here for. And so slowing down is a huge part of allowing yourself to experience awe. You do not want to calendar in 10 minutes for awe, right? That's completely against the point. It doesn't work. And there are a lot of you out there who have been very successful in doing your work by doing exactly that. Calendaring in 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, go, 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 go. But if you're feeling that burnout, if you're feeling that breakdown, it's calendaring in open time. How is sitting here trying to relax and then, have an moment, God light's supposed to come out of the clouds, or I'm supposed to understand that, I'm actually on my 85th lifetime, or whatever it is people might assume. They're looking for a one-to-one connection of, okay, so I'm going to sit down and experience awe and then X. And the awe is really about the practice and how it has second, third, fourth order effects on everything else you're involved in.
You might be wondering why I'm sitting in a workshop through this lesson. That's because here is where I find my awe. And if I do woodwork on a weekend, I come back to work on Monday feeling great. I don't always find my awe and have some breakthrough about work, but I've learned that if I've got a problem I can't figure my way through, I usually figure it out here while I'm not trying to figure it out.
All the research shows that purpose is one of the ways that we are incredibly creative. Purpose drives us. Purpose is connected into the default network. It opens us to all the things that might be possible. And awe helps us remember and understand what our sense of purpose is.